From the very beginning, the press and media have proven to be the most rapid and effective means of shaping public opinion. With just a single photo, an ordinary person can suddenly become a superstar, but with a few unfounded words, the life of a celebrity can be shattered, turning them into a target of public criticism. Thanks to the media's watchful eye, the world witnessed one of the most mysterious accidents in history on a night in August in Paris. A Mercedes crashed into a pillar, causing chaos. Just a few hours later, the world was stunned to learn that Princess Diana had passed away. The death of the People's Princess of England left not only deep wounds of grief, but also opened up numerous mysteries yet to be explained. Was there a conspiracy behind this tragic accident? What was hidden behind the curtain of that night in Paris? Who was the real culprit behind this century's case? You are watching a segment from the film The Crown on Netflix. This series focuses on a character known as the People's Princess, Diana. But who is this woman, and what makes her so special? Diana was born on July 1, 1961, in Sandringham, into a noble and powerful family. She was the fourth of 5 children of Earl Spencer and Frances Shand Kidd. The Spencer family, to which Diana belonged, was one of the most prestigious in England, with close ties to the royal family. Perhaps it was because of this that Diana had the opportunity to meet with high-ranking figures, including princes. In the summer of 1980, Princess Diana and Prince Charles had the chance to meet each other at a hunting party organized by the Spencer family. Although she was only 19 years old at the time, her beauty and charm won the favor of the royal family, and they soon designated her as the future queen. The royal family quickly pushed for the wedding of the century between Charles and Diana on July 29, 1981. The fairy tale wedding was broadcast live to 750 million viewers worldwide. The bride and groom wore silk shoes and diamond tiaras, and a horse-drawn carriage made of crystal was prepared. Over 500 guests were invited with gold-embossed invitations, and more than 60 gifts were delivered to St. James's Palace. Diana's wedding dress was hand-sewn with 40 meters of silk, using fabric grown and woven on British farms. The most special were the 18K gold rings, around which 14 diamonds were set, valued at 63.0 at the time. This luxurious splendor made the whole world marvel and believe that Princess Diana was a happy woman. Not only was Diana admired for her fairy tale wedding, but she was also deeply loved and respected by the public for her charitable deeds and her genuine concern for the abandoned and suffering. She became a symbol of compassion, actively participating in numerous significant campaigns, such as raising awareness about HIV/AIDS, at a time when the disease was heavily stigmatized. Diana's efforts didn't stop there. She traveled to war-torn regions like Angola to bring attention to the dangers of landmines. The iconic image of Diana walking through a minefield became a global symbol, further endearing her to people worldwide. Many believed that Diana would continue to lead a happy life with her family, dedicating herself to humanitarian work with the same passion. However, things began to take a turn for the worse. The pressures of royal life, coupled with the intense scrutiny from the media, started to take a toll on her well-being. The fairy tale marriage that the world had admired was, in reality, filled with challenges and difficulties. Diana's personal struggles with mental health issues and an eating disorder began to surface, revealing the less glamorous side of her life. Despite the challenges, Diana remained committed to her charitable work, using her platform to advocate for those in need. Her dedication to humanitarian causes and her ability to connect with people on a personal level made her a beloved figure around the world. However, the increasing tensions within her marriage and the demanding expectations of the royal family continued to weigh heavily on her. As the years went by, the situation grew more complicated, leading to a series of events that would ultimately change the course of her life. Just 1 year after the wedding, the fairy tale marriage that millions had admired was not as perfect as we had imagined. The period of happiness for both Charles and Diana was brief, and cracks in their relationship began to appear, making it impossible for them to find a way to resolve their issues. Many believed that their courtship period was too short, because they married in haste and could not harmonize in terms of personality and lifestyle. However, the real reason was not that simple. The presence of another woman marked the end of this century's dream marriage. She was Camilla Parker Bowles. The media and press believed that Camilla was the woman Prince Charles truly loved, and the two seemed to have a destiny intertwined by heaven. In 1972, at a party, Camilla made a surprising statement. She said that her grandmother and Charles's grandfather had once been in love, which made her feel that she and Charles had a lot in common. This revelation acted like a catalyst, bringing the two closer together in a passionate love affair. It was also in this year that Charles expressed his love for her, but Camilla rejected him because she feared the constraints of royal life. At the beginning of 1973, she hastily married Andrew Parker Bowles, a close friend of Charles. Although heartbroken, due to the urging of the royal family, the prince was forced to marry as a replacement. Camilla's unrequited love left a deep wound in Charles's heart that was hard to heal. Therefore, even after marrying Diana, he never stopped thinking about his deep love for Camilla. When Prince William, Charles's eldest son, was born, the marriage began to experience strain. Charles's longing and feelings for his old love were too great and caused pain to both Diana and Camilla's husband, who was also obsessed with his old love. This situation led to the deterioration of Charles's friendship with Andrew. The tension in the marriage escalated day by day, and the strict rules of the British royal family caused Diana's mood to change unpredictably. She suffered from panic attacks, fell into depression, and developed an eating disorder. Despite Diana's deteriorating condition, Charles never showed any care. Even later, in 1994, in an interview with the BBC, Prince Charles revealed that he and Camilla still frequently met after his marriage to Diana. He was just waiting for the marriage to break down so he could return to Camilla. From then on, people knew that the prince had never loved the princess. That wedding of the century was just a forced act. In the biography of Princess Diana, the moment that truly marked the death knell for their marriage was the birth of their second son, Harry. Prince Charles had always longed for a daughter, and so when he learned that he was the father of two sons, he couldn't hide his disappointment. His sadness was compounded when Prince Harry was born with red hair, a genetic trait inherited from the Spencer family of Princess Diana. The tension and unspoken feelings between the couple were palpable, further straining their already fragile relationship. By December 1992, after years of speculation by the press that the marriage was in jeopardy, British Prime Minister John Major announced that the couple had officially separated. This news was swiftly picked up by the media, becoming a hot topic of discussion. The scrutiny intensified, with interviews of the prince and princess increasing, and the darker aspects of their marriage being exposed to the public. It was revealed that not only had Charles been unfaithful, but there were also suspicions that Diana had not been entirely loyal to her husband. At that time, Diana had reportedly been involved with several men. The first was likely her bodyguard, Barry Manakee. Additionally, there was James Hewitt, a former cavalry officer in the Household Cavalry, whom Diana admitted to having an affair with. There were allegations that the princess had been involved with many other men as well. The once burning flame of love between Charles and Diana was completely extinguished, leaving no more fragile hope for reconciliation. The years of built-up resentment, infidelity, and emotional distance had taken their toll. Finally, in August 1996, the couple filed for divorce, and their marriage officially came to an end. The divorce of the Prince and Princess of Wales attracted more media attention than ever before. Paparazzi were constantly trying to approach Princess Diana to get continuous updates on her situation. As a result, they inadvertently witnessed what would become the most horrifying moment of her life. A year after the divorce, Diana and her two sons, Princes William and Harry, were invited to a holiday on a yacht belonging to the Al Fayed family in the Mediterranean. This was a much-needed opportunity for her to relax from the fatigue and stress caused by the divorce. With the intention of taking a short vacation, she had a genuinely good time. It was during this holiday that she met Dodi Al Fayed, the man we are discussing now. Dodi was an Egyptian film producer and the son of billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. The relationship between Diana and Dodi quickly developed beyond friendship, as they found harmony in their personalities and interests. After the holiday, the couple continued to spend time together. At that time, privacy was not as prioritized as it is today, and this new relationship of Diana was quickly reported by the press. However, the media attention did not seem to affect their feelings too much, but this budding romance ended in a tragic and mysterious way. On the night of August 31, 1997, a shocking incident occurred that would shake the world. Right in front of these assets, Princess Diana's car had a serious accident on the streets of Paris. What happened? Let's go back to the day before the accident. After the holiday, the couple flew from Olbia Airport in Sardinia on Thursday, August 30th, and arrived at Le Bourget Airport in Paris. In the City of Light, they checked into the Ritz Hotel, which is owned by the Fayed family. Because they had plans to visit the billionaire father at his private apartment the next day, the arrival of the People's Princess in France quickly attracted the attention of the paparazzi. They gathered in large numbers outside Place Vendôme, the famous square where the hotel Diana stayed at was located, to ensure the safety of Diana and her companion. The bodyguards used a decoy car in hopes of fooling the paparazzi. Indeed, this plan succeeded in attracting a large number of photographers, but there were still a few who lingered, determined to get a clear photo of the couple to sell to the newspaper. Meanwhile, the couple was led out the back of the hotel and into a waiting armored Mercedes 280 sedan. At this time, there were 4 people in the car: Princess Diana, Dodi Al-Fayed, bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones, and driver Henri. For some reason, no one in the car was wearing seatbelts. After traveling a certain distance, according to eyewitness accounts, the car was quickly surrounded by paparazzi as it entered the Henri Paul had to drive at over 100 km/h, more than twice the speed limit allowed, to escape the paparazzi. Unfortunately, they not only failed to shake off the tail but also caused a tragic accident. The car lost control, hit a white Fiat Uno, and continued to travel in the left lane before crashing into a concrete pillar. The accident left the paparazzi and witnesses stunned. Some tried to help the victims, while others quickly took photos of the gruesome scene to provide the newspapers with timely updates. The police quickly arrived at the scene to investigate. Things got worse when the police thoroughly inspected the front of the car, which was completely shattered. Henri Paul and Dodi Al-Fayed died instantly, while Trevor Rees-Jones was still conscious but had severe injuries to his face and bruises on his head. He survived but had no memory of what happened. So what about our beloved princess? She was still alive but in a state of extreme shock. The medical staff quickly anesthetized Diana and took her out of the car and to the hospital. However, on the way to the hospital, the princess suffered a cardiac arrest. It was discovered that her heart had been pushed to the right side of her chest due to the impact of the collision, which had also damaged the left pulmonary vein and the heart. The princess's condition was worse than we thought, and she passed away at 3 a.m. The world was shocked by the sudden departure of the People's Princess of England. The tabloids quickly reported on this tragedy with the headline, "Diana is dead," in bold letters on their front pages. The state funeral of Princess Diana became one of the saddest moments in British history. Mourners lined up for hours to sign condolence books and sign the condolence scrolls across the country. About 3 million people took to the streets of London, while 31.5 million people watched the ceremony on television, with a global audience of 2.5 billion, nearly 1/3 of the world's population at the time. It can be said that since the assassination of US President John F. Kennedy, no mystery has attracted as much attention as that. But did the departure of the Princess of Wales really just result from an accident? What was the conclusion of the police investigation? Are there any mysteries or sinister conspiracies behind this tragic case? A major investigation by the French government was conducted to find out the cause of Diana's death. At the scene, the police force was present in time, and the on-site investigation was carried out immediately. They concluded that the accident occurred because the driver, Henri Paul, had been driving at high speed while intoxicated. The alcohol concentration in the driver's blood was later proven to be more than 3.5 times the legal limit. In addition, the driver had also used sedatives before driving, which affected his ability to control the car. This conclusion caused a great wave of anger around the world. Many people believe that the police were too hasty in making the final statement. Rumors and conspiracy theories emerged. What was the role of the paparazzi in that night of horror? Was it just a simple car accident, or was there a force behind it? At that time, Princess Diana was very famous after her divorce from Prince Charles. She had become a great embarrassment to the British royal family, and had her title and privileges stripped. After all that had happened, it was really too sensitive when a sudden accident occurred just as the scandals had ended. Therefore, there were hypotheses that the British royal family was behind this accident to eliminate the person who had caused the royal family to be tainted. This idea was put forward for consideration, and there were quite a few relatively convincing pieces of evidence. It was discovered that in November 1995, 2 years before she passed away, the Black Princess had participated in an interview with Panorama, the BBC's leading news program. She always believed and had a premonition that she would be killed or die in a mysterious way, such as an accident involving a helicopter, airplane, or car. Of course, at that time, the number of people who loved Diana was very large, but those who hated her were not few either, especially the British royal family. As soon as the news of Princess Diana's death reached the British royal family, and Queen Elizabeth II was resting at Balmoral Castle in Scotland, they made no public statements. They were even silent for several days afterward. This decision angered the public, and they were even more convinced that the heads of the British state were the real culprits. Under the heavy criticism of the public, Queen Elizabeth II had to change her stance. The evidence of this was the decision of the royal family to lower the flag at Buckingham Palace, an unprecedented action for a deceased royal family member. But it was not enough to stop the public from continuing to criticize and blame the British royal family. The Queen set up a plan to assassinate Diana. Did the British royal family arrange the accident? This is why there were initially indifferent actions. One of the most outspoken figures at the time was billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed, Dodi's father. He believed that the British government had staged the accident to prevent a Muslim from marrying the beautiful princess. Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II, was the one pulling the strings. The British spies killed Diana and Dodi because he did not support this relationship, especially when the son of Princess Diana would be the heir to the British throne. It was difficult for the royal family to accept that the future monarch of the country would call a Muslim man father. According to another theory, another car appeared inside the tunnel where the accident occurred and blocked the front of Diana's Mercedes, forcing driver Paul to make a sharp turn. The group of security personnel present at the scene also cooperated with the British intelligence agency MI6 to carry out the task of chasing the Mercedes carrying Princess Diana, causing the driver to maintain a high speed before entering the tunnel. But if it were only that, then this hypothesis would not be supported so much. This accident is also considered a stepping stone for Charles to marry Camilla in a dignified and proper manner, and that indeed happened shortly after Diana's death. Charles and Camilla gradually made their relationship public. By April 2005, the wedding was organized, and Camilla became the queen. How ironic for Diana's life. However, the police have spoken out against the billionaire's allegations and stated that they are completely unfounded. In addition to the allegations related to the British royal family, there is also a theory that the paparazzi deliberately caused the car accident. Could it be that just by taking pictures and snapping photos, the princess lost her life? A survey revealed that up to 43% of British citizens blamed the media. The reason is that before the incident, Diana was always the focus of media attention. There were times when the princess was even called the woman with the most photos in the world. She was almost monitored 24/24, and this excessive attention became the reason for the accident. Even when she came to Paris, the paparazzi still relentlessly followed, observing every gesture to get the latest information about the superstar. On the night of the accident, the press chased after Diana's Mercedes with insufficient lighting equipment. Surely these paparazzi had to be equipped with additional flashlights to get the highest quality photos. The series of lights flashing together could have limited driver Paul's vision and also caused him to panic and press the gas. As a result, the car lost control and everything happened as we know it. Not only that, these photojournalists came from different publishing companies, and the competition to get the best photo was inevitable. The chaos caused by these people also became a partial cause of the horrific accident. Remember the Fiat Uno that driver Paul hit before the tragedy occurred? It turns out that this car was produced between 1983 and 1989. It is a strange coincidence that a French professional photographer named James Anderson, who also owned a similar car, was suspected by public opinion, and the suspicion against this man was increasingly confirmed. According to Al-Fayed, he believes that Anderson cooperated with the MI6 intelligence agency to carry out the assassination of the princess and his son. However, subsequent analyses determined that the white paint left on the body of the Mercedes did not match the paint of the Fiat Uno owned by the professional photographer. In addition, Anderson's wife also confirmed that her husband was at home on that night of horror. But this did not reduce the pressure of public opinion on the police and the security services. 3 years after the accident, Anderson's body was found inside a burning BMW with a bullet hole in the head. Surely, like me, you also feel that there is something unusual here. When the suspicions were aimed at the paparazzi, Anderson, the most suspected man, suddenly passed away. Many people believe that this photographer was eliminated by MI6 to cover up the truth about the princess's death, making it forever unclear. It is similar to the way mafia bosses eliminate witnesses in the detective stories we know. Although this theory is evaluated as relatively reasonable, it was quickly dismissed. Taking photos is a normal behavior of photographers, and there is no solid evidence to show that they were involved in the criminal conspiracy. So what is the most reasonable explanation after all? Could the death of the people's princess just be an accident? There is a theory that 2 years before the princess passed away, she had repeatedly shared with her relatives about the brake system of the car being tampered with. After the French police investigation, they also conducted an investigation into Diana's death. 3 forensic experts and traffic accident specialists together examined all the elements of the accident to try to find out if anything had interfered with the car. Indeed, one cannot help but think of the possibility that the Mercedes was tampered with by someone. They used another car exactly like Diana's to compare and search for differences. However, there was no evidence to show that anything had been attached or the car parts had been damaged. Like most of the thoughts above, we also do not have solid evidence. The police concluded that there was no information to show that there was external interference with the Mercedes that caused the accident. But let's change our perspective. If the murderer is one of the 3 people on the car with Diana, then everything is completely possible. But an obvious fact is that the most suspected person is driver Paul, who died instantly after the accident. What made him sacrifice himself to cause such a shocking incident? Was Paul a spy for a certain organization? The biggest question here is whether Paul was really drunk at the time of the accident. As a security manager, he must understand that he is protecting the life of a superstar like Diana and the son of a famous billionaire. Driving under the influence of alcohol could be dangerous, and Paul certainly knew the consequences of an accident with these 2 important people. Not only that, the alcohol concentration in Paul's blood was more than 3 times the allowed limit. This detail has really caused a lot of controversy until this day, because more or less, the other people on the car could have noticed that the driver was not sober through body odor or the phenomenon of a red face. Did they really believe that a drunk person would help her escape from the paparazzi? When investigating the people closest to him, it was learned that Paul was a responsible person who performed his duties well and prioritized the goal of protecting human life. So, did the police conclusion have any shortcomings? Some conspiracy theories suggest that the blood test results of Paul were tampered with. The blood samples were taken at the time of the accident and during the autopsy process, so the possibility of complete forgery can be considered. They may have drunk alcohol, but not as much as the reports have stated. They also cited that he was seen to be sober and showed no signs of intoxication when leaving the Ritz Hotel. I have to question this reason. Why would a sober driver Paul cause such a horrific accident? Excluding the cause by the paparazzi, this is truly a question that needs attention. Many people believe that besides being a security manager, Paul was also a spy for a certain intelligence agency like MI6. This suspicion stems from the fact that he was found to have assets of unknown origin. Paul owned large sums of money deposited in bank accounts that his work at the hotel could not bring, but a large organization could have the ability to do so. It was speculated that he had received money to support a certain conspiracy aimed at causing the death of Diana and Dodi. A plan for assassination had been arranged, and Paul was the one who carried it out. When waiting for Diana in the Mercedes, he knew that the paparazzi would chase and follow him. He was instructed to drive into the tunnel at high speed and crash into a pre-selected place. Taking advantage of the fact that the flashlight from the cameras was flashing continuously, an accident occurred without anyone suspecting the driver. The flashing image could have made Paul lose control, but in a calculated way. In addition, the driver's driving speed was also considered too unusual. The task of helping to escape from the press was a duty, but driving over 100 kilometers, would also endanger the journalists who were working. There are many allegations and debates aimed at the British intelligence agency, which had to open an additional government investigation to completely refute the reasoning about Paul being a spy and the main culprit in the accident. Another hypothesis is that no solid evidence was found, so will the answer be forever left unknown. The death of Princess Diana was a tragic event that caused the whole world to pay attention. It was not just the departure of a beautiful woman with a tragic fate, but it also raised many questions about the media, the royal family, and the nature of fame in society. Official investigations concluded that this was an accident caused by a drunk driver and high-speed driving. But besides that, conspiracy theories still always exist, and the belief that the death of the people's princess was not as simple as that. This event symbolizes the collapse of a royal dream and the loss of faith in the powers behind the scenes. It also shows that mystery always exists behind the aura and power. Therefore, we can only believe that the princess, unfortunately, died in a traffic accident, rather than for other reasons or conspiracy. Personally, I think that the departure of Diana has shown a gap that has not been filled in people's perception of her life. The love that the public gave her has just turned Diana into a legend. She will always be remembered not only for her tragedy, but also for the life she lived, full of love and compassion. From a girl who suffered many injuries, Diana became a symbol of compassion and a desire for change in the world. Although loved by the public, the princess's life was still full of losses and suffering, only to end with a horrific accident. What was the cause of her death? Who was behind it? We cannot be certain. A series of mysteries have been put forward, and many hypotheses have been discussed, but the case remains in the past. But I believe that the legacy that Diana left will always live on, inspiring future generations.